Welcome back to the Back in Time channel. So there are multiple outlets reporting that singer Tyrese is now suing Home Depot in the sum amount of $1 million for racial discrimination. Now, before getting into the details of this lawsuit, I'm going to go ahead and play some footage from earlier this year of the aftermath of the incident from Home Depot that Tyrese recorded. So go ahead and check out this clip via the Neighborhood Talk, and I'm going to come back with some more information.
My card to pay for it, and he let me leave. So then, as I left, sir, they're now here to finish the transaction because, irregardless of who I am, I don't like getting attention. And I just started seeing people looking, and I was like, let me go ahead and work my way out. They've been coming here and working with me. They work with me. I don't treat anybody less than. I treat everybody with respect. They've been working with me for 10 years. I have not been in this store in probably 6 years. So I'm asking the supervisor, who won't give me her last name, what is the store policy that you have in place that you're supposed to implement where I'm able to scan 2 candy bars and walk outside without my ID and without paying for it? And he let me leave. And I'm calling you on FaceTime to say if you have an ID problem and I don't have a pro account, you're looking at me on FaceTime and I'm telling you it's me. And then you're saying the policy.
Okay, so you just had a look and a listen of the aftermath footage that was captured in February of this year. Now I'm going to get into what page 6 is reporting. The article reads this. It says that Tyrese Gibson is suing the Home Depot over allegations the home improvement retailer racially profiled him. The lawsuit was filed Wednesday by the actor/musician who is 44 years old and 2 other men described as associates who regularly provide construction services to him. The suit, which was obtained by People, claims that Gibson, Eric Mora, and Manuel Hernandez experienced outrageous discriminatory mistreatment and consumer racial profiling while visiting the company's West Hills, California location in February. The suit also claims that all 3 were finishing up their shopping when fans began noticing that the Fast and Furious franchise star was in the store. So he gave his associates his credit card to pay for the items and went to go to wait in his car. Gibson allegedly told the cashier that he gave Mora and Hernandez permission to use his card. However, the cashier allegedly refused to complete the purchase transaction, even after the Transformers actor returned to the store. The cashier gave no reason or explanation other than repeating store policy and demanded to see form of identification, the suit claims. The manager refused to speak with Gibson in person. It was only after significant heated discussion with the cashier that Gibson was finally able to complete the transaction. The suit goes on to allege that the cashier and Home Depot employees purposefully interfered with and refused to process the transaction based on their groundless suspicion of Gibson, Mora, and Hernandez arising from their skin color, and in this case of Mora and Hernandez, their national origin. During the encounter, part of which was filed, Gibson could be heard telling the cashier, "I understand the policy, but you know you're being extra right now." Later on in the clip, the Sweet Lady singer explained that the cashier and other staffers, "My problem with what just happened is I've been living 3 blocks from here for 10 years, and in this a policy, why are you the first person to stop my team and my ability to come here?" Gibson, Mora, and Hernandez are seeking over $1 million in damages to reflect the amount of the Hollywood star claims he spent on the Home Depot location over his lifetime, in addition to punitive damages in a declaratory judgment declaring that the company's action violated California's Unruh Civil Rights Act. Gibson, Mora, and Hernandez are taking a stand against the Home Depot to hold it accountable. The company needs to understand that there are consequences for discriminatory mistreatment and consumer racial profiling. The suit further alleges that the Home Depot has refused to take any responsibility for the incident and has insisted and doubled down, lawyered up, and treated Gibson, Mora, and Hernandez and what happened to them is not worthy of any due consideration, instead interfering that they are the problem. When contacted for comment, a spokesman for the Home Depot told Page 6 in a statement, Diversity and respect for all people are core to who we are, and we do not tolerate discrimination in any form. We value Mr. Gibson as a customer, and in the months since this happened, we've reached out to him and his attorney several times to try to resolve his concerns. The statement continued, "We will continue to do so." Now, my thoughts are this. I don't necessarily think that I agree with this lawsuit, and I'm going to explain why. Because they kept stating that it was in Home Depot's policy. It's policy that you show identification. And in the video and in the suit or whatever, Tyrese kept explaining that he was showing himself on FaceTime, letting him know that, hey, it's me, and he was authorizing it. But at the end of the day, when you show authorization to a cashier or anything, you're not just showing them your face, you're showing them your ID card. You actually have an ID card to identify who you are. For all they know, you could have been a lookalike, an impersonator. How many times have you tried to make transactions through the phone and you had to go through a series of questions and prove that you are who you say you are? Again, you were no longer in the store and it was time to purchase the items. You weren't present. So in this case, I don't feel like it was any different. And for me, it just didn't make any sense for him to get that upset. But you were in the store, but you weren't present to purchase the items that you wanted to get. Now, granted, a lot of people say that they have employees and people that work for them and they go in stores all the time and they use their card and they don't get carded for identification. Well, that makes perfect sense depending on what it is that you're actually purchasing. Which brings the question to mind, how much exactly was the total of what it is that they were trying to purchase? If it was a big amount, then it makes sense to actually card something, especially if you're using somebody else's card. So him talking about he was able to purchase 2 candy bars and not get carded sounds like a bunch of baloney that's stale as old day bread. At the end of the day, we're talking about purchasing things from Home Depot, and after purchasing a certain amount of items, it can get really expensive really quick. So them carding them makes perfect sense. And if they're not, in my opinion, you're not following company policy. Now, Tyrese said that he used to Patriot there a lot and that he hadn't been there in probably 6 years. Well, things have changed over the years, right? So if you haven't been there in 6 years, they're probably under new management. They're probably under people who are going to take the job a little more seriously. Now, I did read where some people say they go to different locations, Home Depot, and they don't get carded. Well, again, people are probably not doing their job properly. You know, I mean, if it's company policy that you're supposed to identify people, then that's what you're supposed to do. And a lot of people probably just weren't doing it. Now, I'm not going to be the one to say that it wasn't racial discrimination that played a part in all of this. However, I will say I don't think it would be far-fetched for someone to suspect fraud activity going on. Now, not to be funny in any way, shape, or form, but were the individuals who work for Tyrese who tried to purchase the item, were they black? Because in reality, how many non-black individuals do you know with the name Tyrese? I'm not trying to be funny in any way. Also, I feel like it could have been a different situation had he had an assistant. So a lot of people had a lot to say in the comments about this. I'm going to go ahead and play these comments for you guys. I would love to know what you think down below, your thoughts of this whole video. What do you think about the suit? Do you think that Tyrese has grounds to sue them for $1 million because of racial discrimination? Do you feel like racial discrimination played a part, or do you feel like the store manager, the cashier, whomever was just doing nothing more than their job and they were actually looking out for Tyrese and trying to protect him despite him coming on FaceTime showing that it was him? Let me know your thoughts down below, and I will talk to you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe here with us at Back in Time. But until next time.
Don't you feel tough?
Yeah.
Don't you feel strong?
Yeah.
Don't you feel like going home?
Shut up.
Then get the hell out of my apartment.